What's up, everybody? It's Allison, and welcome to the Players Corner. This is episode 10. Jill is not with me at the moment, but she is on the interview. We just didn't really film a pre or post show because, as you may have seen on our social media, we were pre-filming all of the episodes that are going up during the Pro League, which wound up being 6 interviews. I think it took about 15 Zooms worth of time to do, so we wound up not having enough time to do the post show for this week. But I just want to thank our sponsors, Skills Machine, real quick. We have a giveaway up on our Instagram for a Skills Machine. There's more information there. Check it out. But without further ado, let's get into the interview with Kelsey Bing.
Today's guest comes from Houston, Texas, and she graduated from St. John's School. She played her college field hockey at Stanford University, where she earned American East Goalkeeper of the Year twice. She was first named to the U.S. Women's National Team in 2018 and earned her first cap against Belgium. She was nominated for the FIH Hockey Stars Awards Goalkeeper of the Year in 2023. She helped USA earn a silver medal at the 2023 Pan American Games and the FIH qualifier in 2024, where she also earned a Player of the Match for her performance against India. Please welcome to the Players Corner, Kelsey Bing.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're gonna start with some fan questions. So Eden, who is a goalkeeper for Warhawks, asked, "Why did you decide to be a goalie?"
Feel like I don't have the most typical story for why I became a goalkeeper. When I started playing in the 7th grade, there's probably like 30 girls who signed up. And obviously field hockey is 11 aside, so that's like not a lot of playing time for anyone. And so they would roster people for different games so that like you weren't sitting out for most of the match. And our coach of the 7th grade said, if anyone signs up to be a goalkeeper, we'll play you for one half as a goalkeeper and the other half you don't get subbed out. And if there's one thing you should know about me, I really don't like being subbed out. I think a lot of athletes are like that. And so I sat down, I did the math, and I was like, you know what? What a deal. Like, I'm going to get way more playing time because if not a lot of people sign up for goalkeeper, I'm going to get rostered for every game. So yeah, kind of fell into it in a quest for more playing time.
Eden also asked, what advice would you give to a high school goalie that wants to play at an elite level?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's lots of advice. I don't even know if it's like goalkeeper specific that I would give, but I think like the biggest piece is like you gotta love it because it's going to be tough. There's always pieces that aren't going to be enjoyable, whether it's conditioning or struggling to learn a new skill. But if you really enjoy the whole process of it or like being around your teammates and things like that, I think that's like what can get you through those tough moments. Because if you want to play at an elite level, it's never going to be easy. I think that's like one of the things that's so exciting about sport. But like, if I'm able to enjoy the process and the journey that gets me to those like high achieving moments, then I'm here for the long term and I can continue to grow and learn as an individual.
And then our last fan question is Maddie, who plays for Surge, asked, "What's the hardest part about the USA field hockey process?"
Oh, I'm not sure I've ever been asked that question. That's a good question. The hardest part, I feel like when you're a high performance athlete, like it can always feel as if you're never doing enough. And I think trying to find the balance between what is rest, because I also have to rest at a high level, and what is bettering myself. Because I think it's very easy to think to yourself, well, if I just do like another hour of running, or if I just do another hour of film, that will make me a better athlete. But like sometimes the best thing you need to do is like shut your brain off, find a time to relax and go on. And I'm still working on that balance. So that's definitely for me right now, my biggest challenge as an athlete.
So you're originally from Texas, which is not like exactly known for hockey. Um, and you've said that it's one of the few options that you had to play your school had that and you were required to play sports. Do you think that having almost like a mandatory choice helps grow the teams, especially at schools like St. John's and like also Kincaid in Texas?
Yeah, I think it's a definitely one way that you can get introduced into the sport. Obviously, that's how I ended up here. But I think really the biggest piece for me is just opportunity to play. Growing up in Texas, when I was there, the club team that I was a part of, Texas Pride, had just been founded, and Tina Edmonds came down and founded it. And honestly, having not only like a strong female entrepreneurial role model to like model myself after as I was like a high schooler or middle schooler was super important. But like just having the ability to play hockey all year round, because that's not always the opportunity that everybody has around the US. And so I think for me, yes, definitely fell into the sport that way. And I hope all high schools can include field hockey because field hockey's given me so much in my life. And I hope others can find that same type of joy and life learning that I have. But I also think it ties in a lot to our club system.
So you work as an engineer for your regular job. How do you manage the workload between training with the national team and doing your job?
Yeah, so I do have a lot of time commitments. Between being an engineer and also being a professional athlete, I find most of it comes down to just clear communication and proactive scheduling. Obviously, I've chosen to do both, and that means that maybe I'm not going to do both to every single thing that I want to do. So it's about how can I communicate to my employer and to USA Field Hockey, like this is how, like, this is where I'm trying to go. Like, how can you help me get there? And I'm a big believer that if you don't ask the question, you'll never know the answer. And so just having a lot of communication up front. And yeah, I don't always get what I want. I think that's also important to throw out there, but I just feel very fortunate to have an amazing employer like Xwing and then a great national governing body like USA Field Hockey that have been willing to support me in both my dreams of developing my career as an engineer and being a professional athlete.
In dummy terms, like basic dummy terms, can you explain what you do for work?
Yeah, for sure. So I am a software engineer on the autopilot team at my company called Xwing. Xwing is an autonomous aircraft technology company. So what that means is we are trying to package a system that you could put onto an airplane so that it could fly itself. For me, my day-to-day responsibilities, there's a couple of different things that I do. One thing I do is I create math models of the airplane and the environment it's in on a computer so that we can test our autopilot out on the computer. So we can try out new things without having to actually put our airplane out there. The other thing that I do is I encode math for very low level controls for how the airplane would move. So for example, let's say, oh, the airplane needs to turn right because it's going to the east. What we would do in this situation is I would code up all the math that would say wings, we need you to turn like this, tail, we need you to turn like this. And that would make a smooth user experience for the airplane to turn to the right.
That is just like so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's a ton of fun, but definitely niche.
As a member of the American East Conference in California, Stanford does a lot of traveling throughout the season. How do you think that constant traveling in college has helped to prepare you for traveling at Pro League?
Yeah, so I have been traveling my whole life for field hockey. Growing up in Texas, all of the USA Field Hockey events were on the East Coast, so I was always having to fly everywhere. And then obviously Stanford having to do those transcontinental flights definitely add up. What was nice about Stanford is we were on the quarter system, so the first 7 weeks were just hockey. So that makes hockey in school a lot more manageable because there's no school. But yeah, I think when you are forced to travel like that at a young age, you get to learn like how your body's going to respond to things and that like, hey, maybe if I take a flight on the same day I have to play, I'm probably not going to play so well, or I need to hydrate, or wearing recovery socks would be really useful. And so I think just having that sort of experience has helped me become a better traveler so that I can be a better athlete. Obviously, it'd be nice to have every game at home, but like that's never going to happen. And I think that's one of the things that's really neat about field hockey is how worldwide the sport is, and you get to go and experience other cultures when you play other teams. And so, yeah, no, it's definitely prepared me a lot.
So you graduated from Stanford this season before the university threatened to cut the program. Did you have any involvement in the movement to restore the program?
Yeah, I just tried to use my voice where I could. Obviously, the program means a lot to me as an athlete because it's what allowed me to attend Stanford. And so I just wanted other young female athletes to have the same experience that I'd had because that program had given so much to me. I wanted to give back how I could. So yeah.
What was your favorite off-field memory from Stanford?
Oh gosh. I feel like my favorite off-field memory is probably just like all of the like random little things that you get up to in college. I'm not sure I could like pinpoint it down into one moment, but like my senior year, I lived with one of my teammates and another one of my teammates was across the hall, and we would just always get up to like some crazy antics. It would be like somebody didn't want to do their homework and would just rope the other two of us into something. And I think those are probably like the moments that I'll cherish the most because like obviously as an adult, you're not like living in a college dorm, so you don't have all your friends just sitting around. Yeah.
What is the student athlete experience like at Stanford in regards to like the balance of athletics and academics?
Yeah, one of the reasons I chose Stanford was because there was such a high emphasis on both academic and athletic excellence. Both of those are very important to me, and I wanted my school to have that type of reflection. And so for the most part, I think the hardest part of Stanford is getting into Stanford. Once you're there, like there are resources to support you throughout the way. You just need to ask for help. And obviously asking for help isn't the easiest thing in the world, but once you learn how to do it, I think it's a really important skill. And so for me, I just like I said before, it's all about communicating. So if I have field hockey commitments, communicating to my professors, if I have academic commitments, communicating with my coaches. And so I found, I mean, the process was definitely not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think it really helped me grow as an individual and is probably one of the reasons I'm able to currently be an engineer and a hockey athlete.
This kind of goes off that a little bit. Is there something you learned from your experience there that you still carry with you now?
I feel like there's so many little things at Stanford that I've carried into my day-to-day life. One of the things I really respected about our coaching staff at the time is they treated you like an adult. And so they let you fail if you were not going to set yourself up for success so that you could have those learning moments. And so I'm not sure I can pinpoint exactly like one specific thing, but I think Stanford has such a culture of excellence around both its academics and athletics that it sets you up for success when you're in a high performance program. And it's just like the little details. Like if you're going to do some running, start with your toe behind the line. If you're going to do a rep in the weight room, do the rep correctly. Like don't waste your own time if you're going to be there doing it out. And so probably it's all in the little details of everything.
Most of this current squad comes from Big Ten or ACC schools. How do you think your experience at Stanford differs from your teammates' experiences in college?
Yeah, obviously, we weren't in the ACC or Big Ten, but we played a ton of those teams. I think something that was nice about Stanford is in our conference at the time, obviously they're now in the ACC, like we always had good competition in the tournament, which would help prepare us to go into the NCAA tournament if we qualified. And so I just really liked the competitive atmosphere of it all. And so I think it's no different if you're in any conference in the NCAA. I think you can always be set up for success to join the national team. And I think that's like what's great about the NCAA.
Last year, the USA was cut from the Pro League before reinstated when New Zealand left to focus on the Olympics. Is there any worry on the current team that this could be a possibility again with the current standings?
I mean, realistically, yeah, I think anybody can look at the table and have worries. I think for us though, like I'm super process oriented, so that's 8 games away from today. That's a problem in game 6, 7, and 8 potentially. So for me, I'm not super worried about that. My focus is we've got game 1. I forget if it's against Belgium or Argentina, but my focus is going to be how can we get a result against Belgium or Argentina, and then from there, I'll continue to move on. So yeah, I haven't really been thinking about it too much. I'm trying really to focus on like the day to day, because if you get bogged down in the long term, then I think you miss or lose sight of the short term.
So you were nominated for the FIH Player of the Year in 2023. What was like your reaction when you found out about that?
Honestly, I was really surprised. One of my teammates, Jenny Rizzo, because I believe they're based in Europe, maybe India, I'm not sure. But it came out very, very early in the morning, US time, probably like 5 or 6 in the morning. And so I woke up to a text from her and I was like, what is she talking about? Because we do send a lot of spam to each other. So I was thinking it was just spam, but it was a really nice text message. So it was just, it's hard to wrap your head around. I think for me, like having grown up in Texas and then going to the West Coast to play hockey, like my world has been kind of small. in terms of field hockey. So to think that other people respect me in that way and think that highly of me like means so much to me. I still think I have a hard time processing it, but yeah, it's obviously not done by myself. I can't take full credit for that. Like I have all my past teammates, coaches, friends, family who have supported me along the way. Like I definitely wouldn't be here without them. And even my current teammates, like I couldn't have played the way I did without how they defended. So yeah.
What is something you wish people knew about the US women's national team and the journey to qualify for the Olympics?
Something I wish people knew. That's an interesting question. Yeah, I think something that is really exciting is like the youth on our team. I think some people do know that, but I think our team has a ton of potential, and I think that's why we're so exciting to follow because our team is young. We have a potential to stay together for an extended period of time, and I think once you have that type of unity and cohesion in an extended period of time is like when you can have success on the international stage.
Who was the first person that you called after the team qualified?
Um, huh. I don't know. I didn't have cell service in India, so it was probably multiple hours after. I'm sure my parents called me and I called them back. Yeah, no, yeah, I don't have a phone plan when I'm abroad, so good luck contacting me. Yeah, no, spent a lot of time with my teammates. I probably called my parents and my younger sister.
Yeah, that's a bit of a reoccurring theme. Everyone's like, we didn't have data. I'm like, okay. So so goalkeeping, especially on like rosters when it comes to things like the Olympics, is very limited to two, maybe three positions. Is there any effect on your like relationship with other goalkeepers when you're going into periods where there's going to be a roster named?
I mean, obviously it can be like an unsaid elephant in the room. But I think Jenny, Kelsey, and I have a really great relationship. And I think we've built a great goalkeeping culture within our team. And so I think that kind of helps alleviate some of the awkwardness of it. We know each other quite well. So if somebody needs space, we're usually pretty good at recognizing that person needs space, or if somebody needs support, we're also usually pretty good about giving each other support. I'm not going to say we get it perfect every time. We don't. But yeah, I think that's something that's really special right now about our program is how close we are. And I think that's been really nice. So hopefully it stays that way, which I don't see any reason why it wouldn't.
All right, so we're going to transition to a little bit of like stats analytics questions. So there's this kind of like concept of Moneyball stats, where you can kind of predict the outcome of games and things like that. So since you're very mathematically inclined, how do you keep yourself kind of mentally in games that you know you might not have a good chance of winning, like a game against the Netherlands?
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the reasons we play sport, right? Like anything can happen. And that's what makes it so exciting. You get like an underdog who does something crazy, or you can get a powerhouse who also blows everybody out of the water. As I said, I'm trying to be very process oriented. If you get bogged down in the results, that can just be a bit of a distraction. So for me, when I'm playing games, I'm really trying to focus on like, what can I do in the next 3 to 5 seconds that can help my team succeed? And that doesn't mean I'm not focused on the past 3 to 5 seconds. If we just scored or I got scored on, or even 15 seconds down the line of like what could happen. I think if I can be really present focused, then I'm not thinking about stats. I'm not thinking about results. And I think that's when I play my best goalkeeping and I'm the best member for the team.
So when preparing for strokes or shootouts, what is kind of going on um inside your head in that moment?
Yeah, probably my answer is quite similar. I'm a huge believer in mindfulness and making sure that you're feeling really present in the moment. So for me, it's just about like grounding myself and getting myself into the best headspace that I possibly can be. Yeah, obviously you're not going to stop every stroke, you're not going to stop every shootout. So having that sort of expectation can also be very helpful so that you're not too down on yourselves. But for me, it's all about being present. Like, how present can I be in this moment to do the best that I can do for our team?
So this question's a little bit less serious. Um, so for the US soccer team, their goalkeeper, Alyssa Nair, has famously taken penalty kicks in a couple of matches. Do you think that you'd be able to convert a penalty shootout for the team?
Oh my gosh. Well, more power to Alyssa Nair. I think that's a total boss move by her. Um, no, I think that would be a disaster if I tried to take my pads off. And then I went from taking a shootout to defending a shootout and vice versa. I think maybe at a different level I could figure that out, but I am not at the skill level of any of my teammates, even if I try to tell them that I am. Yeah, no, I don't have the capability, but it'd be amazing. I'm very impressed by Alyssa Nair. I wish I could be more like her.
What about a stroke? Do we think we got a better chance of a stroke?
Yeah, I definitely think I'd have a better chance of a stroke. I think I would have to actually practice that skill if I wanted it to be okay. Um, but yeah, I think you have to take like a really weird subset of your pads off and then like find a
Yeah.
uniform in the correct color, which could be a little prohibitive for me. But I'd always be willing to give it a go. I just yeah, that's not really my focus at that moment. I know that might be crazy to say, but yeah, we obviously as goalkeepers mess around and do stuff like that all the time. But I think in an international match, probably still kind of tough.
Yeah, I think in the Olympic finals, probably not the
Yep.
best idea to go put you in instead of like
No,
someone who actually
we
takes
have
them.
much better stroke takers than me on the team. Much
I
better.
get to see
And
like,
I'm happy to back them.
oh, in a turn of events, here comes Kelsey coming to take the stroke.
Very interesting, that's for sure.
So a lot of goals on the international level or are scored off penalty corners. So what kind of preparation goes into that? Say not even like just in game, maybe like before games, like through scouting and things like that.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of different pieces that go into that. You think you've aptly pointed out that people score a lot on penalty corners. So for us, it's how can we train our defensive penalty corner unit during practice? Who do we think are threats that are trying to shoot on the other team, and trying to identify that pregame so that when we're in the game, we can just play hockey and do the best that we can do in that moment. But yeah, definitely a lot of work leads up to it. It's not just like, oh, let's see what's going to happen in these next couple of seconds. We'll throw something out there. No, there's some decent thought process that goes into everything that we do. But yeah, no, it's definitely a team effort though. Like our whole DPC unit is really detail oriented, which I really appreciate.
So these questions are kind of like for the future. Based on your social media, you seem to really enjoy traveling. Do you have any fun trips planned for after the Olympics?
I do love traveling. You're right. Yes. But no, I don't really have any trips planned. I have some ideas, but nothing planned. Obviously I work, so that keeps me pretty sedentary for the most part, but I'm hoping to go to San Francisco, work a little bit in the office, see some of my friends, maybe try to go out to Colorado. One of my friends is trying to plan a trip to Glacier National Park, so I would love to go to that. But again, I don't know. For me, I haven't really gotten past a pro league, let alone hopefully going to the Olympics. So yeah, future me problem, but hopefully I get to do something cool given our time off.
Do you have to like work for your actual job during the Olympics, or do you, like would you take that off?
I've yet to have that discussion with my company, so I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like at that moment, but I'm hoping to do some work because for me, work is really important, and I think it actually helps make me a better athlete. So hoping to find the balance there.
Okay. And then feel like we kind of know the answer to this already, but post Olympics, do you have any plans to like kind of move out to California for your work, or any other plans on like moving out of Charlotte?
Yeah, no, my answer still hasn't changed. I'm just gonna see how I feel. Obviously our Olympic roster hasn't been named yet, so hopefully I'm on that. But post Olympics, I think for me, just want to check in. Is work happy? Is USA Field Hockey? Is Kelsey Bing happy? The answer to all three of those questions is yes. I think the answer is national team. I think if not, I've got a bit more reflection to do. And so yeah, I'm not really sure what the future holds. I love playing. I love my work, so we'll just continue chugging along.
We are now going to do the fun questions, even though all questions are fun. So, going off your theme of traveling, where is your favorite place that you have played for field hockey?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I really I played professionally in Australia for 3 months, for the Adelaide Fire. I really enjoyed my time there. It was a ton of fun. I had some great teammates and it was just a totally different experience. And I love coffee, so I had a lot of great Australian coffee when I was there. And so, yeah, that was pretty special and very different from anything I've ever been a part of. So I'm really appreciative for my time there.
Would you rather do strokes or shootouts?
Definitely shootouts.
I feel like no one likes strokes.
Maybe a field player.
Possibly, but not really.
Yeah.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Usually an early bird. I'm up and chattering in the morning. We used to have like 6 a.m. gym, and I think I really drove some people crazy with how awake I was.
Yeah. We used to have 7:30 practice, and I was like wide awake by 7:30, and everyone would be looking at me like, go to sleep, leave us alone.
Yeah, too much noise.
Do you have any game day superstitions?
Don't really have any superstitions, but I'm a big routine gal. So I guess my superstition would be I need to do my routine, but I think the routine to me is part of the game. It's not even a superstition. So just making sure I follow through on my routine is really important to me.
I think that's been the answer the last 3 or 4 interviews. We don't
Yeah,
have superstitions,
all
we
about
have
the routine.
routines.
Yeah, but you can see our sports psych has really helped us out quite a bit.
Who has been your favorite teammate to room with?
My favorite teammate to room with. Oh gosh. I get to room with so many people on the team. I don't know if I have a favorite. I think Ashley Hoffman and I had a great time at Pan Am's. Kelly and I were good roommates. I seem to always room with Leah Krause, who we call Crouton. I don't know. I've had so many great roommates. I don't think anyone's been a bad roommate. So I think, yeah, I'm not sure I can answer that.
Yesterday, this is a side note about the crouton
Yeah.
nickname. Yesterday we asked her about something with the 50th caps, and how like if when she gets her 50th international cap, if you guys are going to throw croutons at her, or not throw croutons at her, but just fill her room with croutons.
I'm sure we'll find something silly to do. Usually Jenny and I spearhead something kind of crazy when we have the opportunity to, and that sounds like a pretty good opportunity.
Yeah, I think what we heard about the one with I think was someone was with the poker
Yeah,
chips.
yours is poker chips.
Yeah, I think Jen gave everybody 50 € poker chips. And then we also convinced half of the team that those poker chips were for laundry, which is a whole separate story. But yeah, no, that was what we did for mine. Yeah.
Is there anyone from another Olympic team, whether it's international or an American team, given that they're named to their rosters, that you want to meet in the Olympic Village?
I'm a pretty big Coco Gauff fan, so I think she'd be a pretty stellar athlete to me. I think, yeah, I think that'd be super cool.
And our last question is if you didn't play field hockey, what other sport do you think you would be best at?
I'd be best at. I love tennis, but I would not be best at tennis. I can guarantee you that. I think given my skill sets of being a field hockey goalkeeper, probably a volleyball libero would probably be about as close as you could get there. I'm no Morgan Hens, who was our libero at Stanford when I was there, but I think I could learn to be okay at it.
So that does it for us. Thank you so much, Kelsey, for joining us. We're gonna head into the post show. See you later.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you so much, Kelsey, for joining us. As I did mention in the pre-show, we don't have a post-show this week just because we kind of ran out of time. Just, life happens. But thank you so much for watching. I honestly can't believe we're already 10 episodes in, which is like kind of crazy to think about. The Olympic roster, I believe, is 18 players. It's either 16 with 2 alternates or 16 with 3. So we are more than likely halfway through the series, give or take. Obviously, we aren't going to get the exact roster right, so there's going to be like 1 or 2 probably extra interviews that we're going to need to do. But yeah, next week's guest is going to be Kelly LePage. We have already filmed that interview, so all of our fan questions were already asked, so we're not going to be looking for that. But we are going to be doing in next week's episode, in the post show, we will be doing a preview of the Pro League, and then we are hoping to do a little bit of a series kind of recapping all the games of the Pro League and explaining what's going on, so we can start talking about the national team a little bit more, and maybe getting some eyes because CBS is live streaming 2 of the matches, so trying to get some we know we're going to be getting some eyes that don't necessarily watch the Pro League as religiously as we do, so we want to just start being able to explain the game to the people who are newcomers and kind of getting them more information about this team, who we all love so much. So that does it for us. We will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Thank you so much for all that you do for our players. We appreciate you so much. Bye.